Hello and welcome back to the Naked Academy Module 1 Part 3, known as monitoring your energy balance, or quite simply, creating a calorie deficit. You can also create a calorie surplus, but today we're going to mainly focus on creating that calorie deficit. And this module is going to be the key benefactor into creating your physique, whether or not it's losing fat, gaining muscle, whatever else. This is the key elements that we're going to be looking at. What we're going to look at is the agenda and what we're going into that. So number one key is the defining key term. What that means is we're going to be looking at the key words, terminologies that we're going to be looking at going through and going forward. Because without understanding that, it's going to be a mess. Then we're going to go into understanding thermodynamics. Again, going straight into one of them big words. What the hell is thermodynamics? Well, it's a key word used in thermodynamics, being in physics. Then going to be looking at the naked nutrition protocols, eating the right foods, and then finally we're going to be looking at choosing and implementing your protocol. As previously mentioned in our calls, this is personalised, tailor-made to you. It's not a one-size-fits-all, hence why we've got this program going on. But don't forget, as our bodies change, we need to be constantly changing the protocol and our nutritional values as our weight decreases, increases, or whatever else, so we can safely sustain where we're going to. So let's get into the definitions and what them key terms are. So calories, units of energy that make up our food, kilocalories. We then have macronutrients. These are the breakdown from calories and what make up calories. They're types of nutrients that contain energy. So how do these macronutrients all work together? Well, macronutrients are basically a breakdown of your protein, fats and carbs. So let's use that as an example. A piece of cake. This cake will contain protein via eggs, carbs via the flour, and the fats via the butter and sugar. All that broken down becomes your macronutrients. So each little element will have its own little value, then creating the calories. So let's break down our macros. Protein. There's 4 calories per gram. So we take 100 grams of chicken breast, that will contain 22 grams of protein. That then 22 grams times by 4 would then give us our calories. That goes with the same with carbohydrates. Our carbohydrates also has per raw gram of carbohydrate is 4 calories, and then fats is per raw gram of fats is 9 calories. So we can use an example of that, and that would be olive oil of sort. You can see it's more than double of the previous 2, protein and carbohydrates, which gives it its bad rep because it's double the amount of calories or over the amount of calories. So that's where a lot of people get confused with low fats and the diet crazes that go ahead. And then finally, the most forgotten about macronutrient is alcohol. And that contains, which has per gram of raw normal alcohol is 7 calories. Now, unlike protein, carbs and fats, it doesn't have any nutritional value in it at all. So what are these different energy states that we can be in? Energy deficit, weight loss, eat less calories than you expend. This is when we are basically eating less than what we can burn and what our calories is. That then becomes our weight loss or energy deficit. But it also can burn muscle tissue, it can burn, tap into our energy sources, so our surrounding fat, carbohydrate stores, glycogen and stuff like that. We've then got energy surplus. This is where we gain weight. It's quite simply by eating more calories than what we expend. So quite simply, is if you keep eating loads of food and you're not moving, you're going to gain weight in different formats. And then finally, we've got energy maintenance. That's basically maintaining our weight where we currently are, and that's eating the same amount of calories as what we expend. So we're basically in any one of these 3 states. We're either in an energy deficit, energy surplus, or energy maintenance. Be simple, but that's where we are right now. So this is what it would look like on an energy balance with calories in versus calories out. Said, let's now jump into that long word thermodynamics and what actually it is. Quite simply, this is the laws of physics and what it comes down to. So it's energy balance dictated by the first law of thermodynamics. It's how our body proportions everything going through. With that first law, basically in layman terms, without going through into too much hassle with this, its energy is either used or stored and cannot be spontaneously created or destroyed, but it can and does change form. So what that basically means is it doesn't matter if whatever food, it could be pizza, chips, ice cream, you name it, all that energy is going to be converted and stored as energy, and it can be distributed into our fat cells, into our daily energy usage. Or it could be stored just quite simply as body fat. Regardless of where calories come from, they all still count. Please don't fall into the trap of, oh, it's okay, believe it or not, if you eat an awful lot of broccoli or spinach or whatever else, if you go over them calories, the body will hold it and store it and use it as fat. Using broccoli or spinach, we use spinach, so quite easily, if your goal is to eat 2,000 calories, but you ate 4,000 calories of spinach, very highly unlikely, but if you did, that body's still going to need to store it somewhere to be able to use it. Popular energy deficit diet. So there's all these people that keep on going about, oh, it's this thing, this thing, this thing, when it comes to dieting. Truth, all it is just down to energy deficit. So, low fat diet. Fat, more calories. Basically, in the diet plans, if it's a low fat diet, as previously mentioned, fats are double the others, so they get a bad rep because they are more calorific. So remove the fat on a low fat diet, reduction in calories. Simple. The Atkins diet, being low carbohydrate, same again. Low carb diets, they remove a macronutrient. Reduction in macronutrient, reduction in calories, that's where it comes. Juice and shake diets, no food, no calories, or reduction in calories. Again, same scenario, but it's not sustainable. As it's not sustainable, or if you buy into this kind of stuff, you may as well go and eat yourself 2 Mars bars a day, at least you're going to get some satisfaction. You've then got something called the 5-2 diet, which is periods of time without any food. Again, brings a reduction in calories. I'm a great advocate of this, but as a flexible dieting system where I can get all my food nutrients coming through, it gets clients fantastic results. But again, it's down to personal choice. So basically, you restrict your calories in an operating window, and you fast for the rest of the time. And then you have something like Weight Watchers, which is points limit. Again, all based around the same, reduction in calories, but sold in a different way. But all of these are the same. There's nothing really magic or different about it. All it is by removing one macro or removing something to put you in a calorie deficit. There's no magic science behind it. So, what are the naked nutrition protocols? Ins and outs, it's all about an energy deficit to lose weight. So, here we go into the options. So, option 1, hand size control guide. Quite simply, if you're new to anything, if you're starting off, this is probably a great way to get going and to get you started. If your diet consists of takeaways, snacky things, or one big meal, and you haven't really got a great grasp of clean eating or healthy eating lifestyle, then this would be the place to start off from. The reason why I recommend this is our hands are in proportion to our body and they don't change in size, so in proportion to everything else it makes more sense. So what we can do is using different food sources, there can be different measures. Breaking it down, we can use different parts of our hands to warrant these measures. So we can use our palms, our fingers, our thumbs, etc. to break down our proteins, carbs and fats. Then option 2 is personally what I recommend for those wanting long-term success is calorie counting, macronutrient tracking. So in turn, you're looking at calculating numerical energy balance number. Simply we find out exactly what your body needs to, the magic number for its body to maintain its natural weight. And then once we've got that magic number, we implement a numerical calorie deficit by measuring our foods and recording it in MyFitnessPal. So let's go back and look at our hand size control guide, and it will look quite similar to this. So we've got our open palm, if it fits in there like that, it'll be our uncooked protein. If it was a cupped hand, filled in the centre, hold it in there, that would be our carbohydrates. Our thumb, so that could be almonds or cashews, avocado. Using our thumb, that would be our fats, and a closed fist, that would be our cooked fibre. Not really essential, but I'll put it on there just in case. So, as a female or male, you've got these two different options. And by the way, this is in the download section. So, breaking this down for 3 meals per day, each meal will contain, let's say for a female, protein, so open palm with one piece. That could be steak, chicken, fish, things like that. One clenched cupped fist of cooked carbohydrates, so that could be sweet potato, rice, quinoa, bulgur wheat, things like that in there. And then you've got 2 thumbs for your fats, which could be olive oils, cashew nuts, almonds, and then 2 clenched fists of your veggies. So that could be like salads, broccoli, you name it, all that kind of stuff, all builds into that. And you would do that for 3 meals a day. It's as simple as that. And finally, if you are still hungry, you can add in 2 snacks into there. So it could be a piece of fruit, a serving of nuts or seeds, remember that thumb, handful of berries, or a serving of naked popcorn. So, what is the summary of the hand size control guide? Well, the benefits of it are it's so simple. Anyone can benefit from it. It's convenient and it's stress-free. So if you're new to all this and you find everything, uploading things into MyFitnessPal a struggle, this is a quite simple and easy way to get started. All the guesswork's taken out of it for you. But what are the drawbacks from this kind of program, or this kind of guide, is its significant margin for error. So you can quite easily overeat on your fats, on your proteins and whatever else. And the second thing is you can't really measure mixed macro types accurately. So basically, if you have a cake, it's on the table, how can you accurately say what proportion is into that food substance? So it does kind of restrict you on inputting it or trying to understand, because you can't get that breakdown set up and sorted out. It's not measurable. You can't then really go and treat yourself to a muffin or a cake or a biscuit or different things, because you can't program that into your food. And from there it takes me then nicely onto calorie macronutrient tracking, also known as flexible dieting. So we've got step 1, you can calculate your calorie deficit using a recommended calculator. Directly underneath this video there's going to be another link to another video asking you to input where you're going to get the breakdown from and a little bit more information. So then it takes us on to step 2, which once you've got that number you can decide on what you will track: calories, protein, carbs, fats. I highly recommend tracking calories and protein. Step 3, you can then enter them calories into macros into MyFitnessPal. I've added tutorials in to show you how to use MyFitnessPal, which then we can get on to step number 4, begin to weigh your food, counting and tracking your food. So let's break this down a little bit further. Step 1, calculating your calories. So firstly, you need to calculate your total daily energy expenditure using a recommended calculator such as ifym.com or calculator.net. So that takes all your energy, even including resting, sleeping, all on board, combined with all your daily activities such as running around, hitting the workouts, hitting the gym, whatever it is. Then once you've gone across to them sites and got your magic number, say it's 2,000 calories, you can then go ahead and select your deficit. So you can go for the recommended 10%, which I'd recommend. The site will actually give you the 10% reading, But if you get that number and you times it by 0.9, that will then give you your 10%. But it does give you the option for a 15%, which is pretty harsh, and 20% I wouldn't recommend to anybody, as quite severe. Quite simply, if you go onto that such a massive deficit of 20%, it's not great long-term sustainable goals. You're going to be so eager, saying, "Yes, I'm ready to lose that weight really quick." But as I talk about in future videos, etc., the catastrophic effect that it can have by losing it quickly, same like these crash diets. Sometimes what normally happens is the quicker you lose it, the quicker you put it back on, and more. Step 2 of calculating your macros is the hierarchy of tracking. This is so true. So if you get into the calculating your macros, first of all you want to be looking at hitting that calorie. As previously mentioned, it's down to your own personal goals, so you've got to try and maintain on hitting them calories on a daily scale, which then you can look at then progressing on to looking at making sure you hit that protein. And then once you've got your calories nailed, your protein nailed, you can then look at probably diversion around and playing around with your carbs and fats. And then the one element that everyone forgets to add into, and that is number 4, and that is your alcohol. Once you've got mastered of your calories, your proteins, and you've looked around a bit at your carbs and your fats, you can then factor in alcohol into the equation. So yeah, just a side note though, if you are using alcohol from the outset of your diet and nutrition plan and things like this, remove them calories from out of your carbohydrates part of the breakdown your macros. So if you're new to this, for a beginner, just solely focus on getting that total calories. Don't worry about anything else at the moment. If you've been dabbing in and out of tracking macros and that before in the past, uploading your information to MyFitnessPal, then you'll be classed as intermediate. Or if you're just trying to get reacquainted back with the process, then look at focusing on your calories and protein. If you've been seriously doing this for the last couple of years, etc., then the advanced, you need to focus on all macronutrients. So once we've done that, we need to go to step 3, and that's enter the macro split into MyFitnessPal. Setting your macro split in MyFitnessPal, and there's 3 options. So if you're quite carb heavy loaded already, you're quite lean, looking at building muscle, you may want to consider this option, which is 45% carbs, 30% protein and 25% fats. We've then got mixed type, so if you're just starting out or you're not too sure or various different things, you may want to look at this one, which is 35% carbs, 30% protein and 35% fats. And then you've got macro split number 3, the protein type. So if you're not very good with carbs, you can quite easily overindulge on them, make you feel quite bloated. Then you may want to look at this source, which is a lower carbohydrate base. It's not a no carbohydrate, but it's a lower carbohydrate base, set at 20% for carbs, 40% for protein and 40% for fats. I'd also recommend this protein type for those that have got quite a lot of timber to try and lose or excess weight, just purely down to the fact of with the higher protein you're going to be feeling fuller for a lot longer, so you're going to be more satiated, so you're going to be feeling fuller for longer, and with the lower carbohydrates, as we explained earlier on, you're going to be lowering that macronutrient level down slightly to increase the fat and use the main fats as the the fuel burner. Then we've got step 4, tracking your intake. Utilise the Naked Nutrition recipe library. Calories, macros stated are per as serving. So within that library, which you've all got access to, you'll see that the macros are already printed at the top of it, and that's as per serving, not per 6 portions. Some of them says that. Also, then you need to watch how to track your food accurately. Presentation. If you've watched through all this video and you've gone down that route and you've come to the conclusion on that you want to track your food accurate on tracking your food, then I strongly highly recommend that you watch this presentation next. Let's quickly go into the summary of calorie and macro counting. Well, the benefits are it's accurate. It's a lot better than the hang guide. It's not 100% accurate, within about 5%, but it is a lot more accurate than the hang guide. Very flexible with the 80-20 principle. With that being said, you know that if you're tracking your macronutrient calories, you can go into the corner shop, pick up a Reese's peanut butter cupcake chocolate thing. You know that there's 261 calories in that. You can quite simply add that into your MyFitnessPal. So, what are the drawbacks to this? Well, you need to be weighing your food and get the calorie content from the packagings. And this system can be stressful. Having to upload every single last little detail within there to make sure that you're keeping yourself accountable, it can cause a lot of pressure on yourself to ensure that you've uploaded it properly. So what's next? Quite simply, you've got to decide on your energy balance protocol and implement it. And as always, guys, if you've got any questions, please feel free to access me within the group or send me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.